When I had to make a change, you know the things just weren't right. I looked around for someone else to blame. I searched and I reached down inside. And I knew when there's a light I can't hide. I can be free. I can be free. I can rise above. I can be free. I can be free. I will rise above. When you're all alone and there's nowhere left to go.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum coming to you from KSCO Radio, McCollum Wellness Radio. And I'm very happy to be here today. It's a beautiful day in Santa Cruz. 5th of July, we had a nice day yesterday, hanging out and enjoying the weather here in Santa Cruz. So we're so lucky to live in such an amazing place. And one of the most important things for us is to really be grateful for what we have, who we are, who our friends are, and know who they are. There's a lot of people out there that would rather you do poorly than well. And one of the main ways to stay healthy is to be sure that you're aware of who they are and you cut them out. Do not make friends with the people that aren't going to have your best interests in mind. Sometimes they're people that you've had as close friends for a long time, and somehow you never do well around them. So, just take a moment, take a look at who you want to emulate, who you want to be about, and really, most importantly, take a look at where you are today exactly. Where's your health? Where's your finances? Where's your relationship with your spouse, if you have one, or your family, your children or parents? And decide, this is the day that I'm going to draw a line in the sand and make things better. Because nothing's going to get better until it gets better. And it's always a little bit harder to push up in the better way than let things just kind of happen, especially with your health. We don't just kind of coast into health, we coast into disease. And today I'm going to be talking about a book of one of my very good friends, Dr. Ben Azadi, and his book is Metabolic Freedom. And I'm going to talk about this book today, and I'll probably have him on the show within a week or so to go over it. But I've been reading the book, and I really want you all to be aware of it. He also has a cookbook called Metabolic Freedom, and it's just filled with great understandings of how to be and get healthy, or get and stay healthy, I should say. So one of the things that I hope you know by now is that we've been under attack by the food industry. Food and drug industry has not been very honest with us. They've been having us eat things that aren't so good for us. And in the long haul, we are the sickest country in the industrialized world. Italy, about 11% of the people in Italy are obese. About over twice that much in the United States are obese. And there's some great information in Ben's book that he told us. I'm going to read a little bit about the foreword of this book, and I'll be referencing different parts of it. He talks about metabolic health. Well, what is metabolic freedom? What is meant by metabolic? Well, it's metabolism. And metabolism talks about how your body burns fuel in order to live. and the more efficient it is at burning fuel and the better fuel that it has, the better off you're going to be health-wise. And so you have to have good fuel, you have to be able to burn it well, and you have to be able to get rid of the byproducts of it well. And if those three things are happening, you're going to be relatively healthy. Now, we are here today, we're drawing a line in the sand, and a lot of us already have been on this planet for several decades, and we may not have the best of health. So a lot of times people think, oh, I can just start doing something right now, and from this point forward, I will be healthy. So many people come in and they're overweight, they're inflamed, their joints hurt, they can't walk very well, they've got back pain, memory loss, fog, stuff like that. And, when I ask them about their diet, they go, oh, I've been eating healthy for 3 or 4 years now. I don't understand why I'm not losing weight or, why I'm just not feeling so good. And part of it is because, it's not what you did in the last few years, it's what you've done, for most of your life, what we've been told. For many years, there was no information about what's in our food, what glyphosate's been doing for us, what GMO products have been doing, what packaging, what plastics have done for us. We know now that there's about a plastic spoonful of the size of a plastic spoonful of plastics in us, in each one of us. And there's a new test coming out that we're carrying at our office where you can actually do a little blood spot test, prick your finger and send it in to this lab, and they will tell you about what percentage of your body or your blood supply and your cells are made of plastic, because it's in everything. When you drink out of plastic water bottles, the clothes you wear, the foods you eat that's in plastic. Certainly, you're not microwaving in plastic anymore. So much of the air we breathe when we're indoors has got plastic particles in it. So this is just not alive. You're putting not alive stuff in your body, and it's becoming part of your DNA. It's become a part of your makeup. And this stuff is not healthy. It is filled with a lot of toxins. But, don't despair, because you can do a lot for it. Now, remember, a lot of chronic disease, we're riddled with more chronic disease than any country in the world, and we take more medications than any country in the world, by far. So don't take yourself off of things that you are consuming given to you by prescription, but be aware of how many that you're taking, and understand one thing: you cannot medicate yourself out of a chronic condition. There's no amount of medications that's going to reverse a chronic condition. It might keep it where it is, but it's not going to repair it or fix it or turn it around. So that's why there are so many Americans dependent on drugs now in this country. By the way, I have my new website up here, McCollumFamilyChiropractic.com. It's just been completely gone through. So I'd love it if you would get on there, poke around on it. There's some great information, some great offers on there so that we can do to help you. A $37 special for a consultation, exam, x-rays, report of finding, and any recommendation. That's normally about $420, but we're doing it for $37. Now, we also have the soft wave therapy special for $49, where we take an x-ray of the area complaint and do a stem cell treatment on it. And we also have for $99 a complete peripheral neuropathy workup, including full set of spinal x-rays and a soft wave or laser treatment, depending on what seems the best. So, the reason we're doing this is because I have an amazing staff, an amazing practice, some of the most advanced equipment there is on the planet regarding rejuvenation of the cells. And, we're getting more stuff almost daily on how to get you healthy naturally and allow your body to do what it's supposed to do, and that's to heal. So we have a lot of things to do. We have to turn around what's gone wrong, and then we've got to nourish what needs to go right. And Ben Azadi, in his book Metabolic Freedom, talks about the metabolism, how your body burns fuel efficiently. It's like your car burning gas. It either burns it and you're getting 50 miles a gallon, no blue smoke coming out of the back, you're not burning oil, the car's clean, running really well, kidneys, everything works in it. And your body needs to do the same thing. So Ben says in his foreword, and Ben, I've known Ben ever since he got involved with Dr. Dan Pompa. It's been about 6 to 7 years now. Ben has got into this business, as most of us do, because it's from pain to purpose, where you're having a major problem in your health and nothing's worked. So you start doing the research yourself to figure out what you can do to help yourself. Now, a couple of the problems here is oftentimes you're going down a labyrinth of misinformation, bad information, or partial truths. What I mean by partial truths is maybe something works a little bit, but unless you have all the components to it, it isn't going to work. And it's kind of like grandma's pie crust, or her recipe. You can't miss an ingredient and expect to have a blue label pie or a blue winner at the fair, right? So you have to be able to understand how things work so that you can understand how to fix them. It's not as simple as people think. I mean, you have 75 trillion cells, each cell doing 6 million things a minute, all controlled by the brain, with the blood supply, 5 liters of blood circulating through the body 5 times a minute, carrying oxygen and metabolites to the cells, the 75 trillion cells, and taking toxic waste away from them. So even though it's complicated, you can do a lot of the right things. So we're talking about metabolism. How does your car burn gas? Is it efficient? Is it good gas that it's burning? And what are the pitfalls? And really, a car is simple compared to the body. But the body has one thing that cars don't. It's a self-governing mechanism called innate that is going to survive no matter what. And that's why, after 80 years, you're still moving and the car is rusting in the driveway or in the field, So we have the benefit of having our innate intelligence there for us that help us be and stay healthy. So this is Ben Azadi's forward. Metabolic health is the most important wellness conversation of our time, the most important conversation of our time. Every single chronic disease has its roots in poor metabolic health. Every single chronic disease has its root in poor metabolic health. The growing mental health challenges are exacerbated by an overloaded metabolic system. So what does he mean by that? The growth of mental health challenges are exacerbated by an overloaded metabolic system. When we have our carburetor not working well and the potato in the gas tank, all of the toxins that are in the car, in the cab, you're running hot, you don't have enough oil, the radiator's blowing over, the windshield wipers don't work, and you can't see out of the windshield. That is what's happening with an overloaded metabolic system in your body. Everything is not working right. Your body's going to be rebelling against itself, trying to survive and shutting down everything that would make you happy in order to keep the organism alive. So, of course, your mental health is going to be challenged by not having the body function well or the metabolic overload, as Ben Azadi says. Even the world's immune system has been compromised by metabolic system gone awry. As a culture, we are in one metabolic mess. So as a culture in the United States, we're in a metabolic mess. We're rated 47th in the world for health. We take more drugs than any other country in the world by far. We're only 4% of the world population. We take over 50% of the medications. We're in a metabolic mess, which means our body cannot even feed itself from the foods we're taking. It doesn't have enough energy to keep us going. So our body gets sick, it gets inflamed, and that turns into a chronic disease. And if the chronic disease isn't handled, it's going to kill you. or make your life miserable, and not just yours, but the ones around you, the ones that you love that might have to take care of you. So, consider it a responsibility for you to be healthy, but also for the ones that care about you. It's not that hard to change your health if you just go and do the right things. So, unfortunately, for most people, poor metabolic health has now become the norm. For most people, poor metabolic health has now become the norm. And that's not the exception, it's the norm. As of 2022, 93% of Americans are metabolically unhealthy. 93% have inflammation in their body, and their bodies can't metabolize or burn fuel correctly. 93%. And approximately 2.5 billion adults worldwide have been classified as overweight. 2.5 billion, that's 25% of the world population, or maybe 20. Okay. With over 890 million of them living with obesity. So 890 million, three times the population of the United States, are obese on this planet. And obesity, this means that 43% of the adults age 18 or over are overweight and 16% are obese. This is terrible. And this isn't just an American challenge, it's affecting millions across the globe, according to the World Health Organization. Well, whoever they are, that's questionable on what they're trying to do these days. The worldwide prevalence of obesity more than doubled between 1990 and 2022. So the worldwide prevalence of obesity nearly doubled in 30 years. How could that be? When we are one of the most advanced civilizations, we know more about medicine, we know more about the DNA. That was unraveled when I graduated chiropractic school in about 1989, 1990. So since 1990, our obesity has it's gotten worse so much. It's doubled in 30 years. Now, that has to be by design, or we are the stupidest animals that ever walked this earth because we know what it takes to be healthy. So you got to listen to. Now, remember, I started the show talking about who you think your friends are. Well, and listen, Western medicine, I took one of my patients to the hospital Friday because I was concerned about some some things going on with him beyond what I do as a natural healthcare provider. So I'm the first one to go, hey, let's go to the emergency and see if this is something we need to be aware of. And, I spent 5 days in the emergency hospital after I ruptured my appendix. But you know, that doesn't mean that 90% of the information we've been getting through the uh, led ABC organizations and government have been telling us the best information for our own health. So, yeah, so really between 1990 and 2022, 32 years, we've doubled our obesity trend. And it's predicted that over half of the global population, over 4 billion people, will be living with overweight or obesity by 2035. How could we be so ignorant about the way the body works and how the metabolism works that in another 15 years or 10 years, half of us are going to be obese or overweight? Come on, guys, this is just not okay. Something is not correct here. And you either go forth with your blinders on or you figure out what metabolism is, how you burn fuel, what toxicity is, how you get rid of it, and how you be healthy. Because life is, a lot of us think we'll be here once. And so often I talk to patients in their early 70s, early 80s, even on their way to 90, and they go, well, I'm 89 years old or 88 years old, and they got a great mind. And I go, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to be a prisoner in your body for the next 10 years? Or do you want to be able to play with your grandchildren or, be able to go out and take a walk on the beach or even drive your car, for crying out loud. So many people that come into my office with peripheral neuropathy, they shouldn't be on the road. A certain percentage of them can't tell if their foot's on the gas or the brakes. They don't tell me this unless it's behind closed doors because they don't want their kids to know, or somebody else because they'll take their driver's license away. I'm about to be a grandpa myself, first grandchild, 69 years old, coming in about 2 months. And, I mean, I broke my back when I was 12. I was a drug addict till I was 28. I almost killed myself doing that. And, I managed to somehow have one thread of hope in my life, even though I was miserable for the first many years because of the drug addict and family issues, and we all have our own. Mine's no different than anybody else's. It's what it did to me, just as yours did what it did to you. None of us have any difference in what's right or wrong other than how we decided to cope with it. And my life was probably pretty good. My brother died at 16, took his own life. My mother died at when I was 17, before I graduated high school, broke my back at 12, dyslexic since first grade, drug addict till 28, almost OD'd. Hey, what's your story? I don't, the only reason I'm telling you that is because here I am today trying to make a difference. I was basically illiterate till I was 28, 27. Then I decided I had to become a chiropractor and spread the word for something that had saved my life, which was chiropractic. And so I had to learn to read, and it was a struggle, and I had to get through school, and it was a struggle. Now I'm about to publish my eighth book, and I've got another two in the making. I couldn't ever, ever, ever imagine that I would write a book. So what's your story? Where do you want to do? What do you want to do this year? Draw a line in the sand, make one goal. If you don't make a few, make one goal and go, this time next year, I want to be blank healthy. I want to have traveled. I want to do something with my family. I want to have created something I haven't done before. I want to learn how to play music. I don't care what it is. Nobody cares but you're the only one that can create it and make it come true. So, I hope you do. Um, I just get kind of tired of I'm going to put this on me. Patients come into my office in all different ways, shapes, and form of health. And if, we don't charge to sit down and talk to anybody about their health, and there's many different ways, I'm going to ask somebody three things. Okay, so I'm going to sit down and talk to you, see if I think I can help you. If I think I can, I'll tell you, but I will ask three things. This would be on your second visit. Before we start, I'm going to say, look, I've gone over everything that we talked about. I reviewed your testing, I've reviewed your x-rays, and either this is a classic case of XYZ or it's on the fringe of this, but I think I can help you or I don't think I can help you. That's the first 30 seconds in my room. Then I'm going to say, I'm going to go over this information, and then I'm going to ask you one of three things. You have three choices. Do nothing, which, if we can help you, that doesn't make a lot of sense, but I understand. Just patch this up, like put a piece of black tape over the red light on your car because it's not the right time and you can't afford a quart of oil. So you're just going to put some tape over it so you don't know that a car is overheating. Or, hey, fix me. I want to enjoy my life. I have things to do and people to see. And, that's what I want to do. So those are going to be your choices, but they're going to have a lot to do with three things. One, how physically messed up are you, your nervous system, your spine, the joints? How much degeneration is there from accidents, injury, sports, sleeping wrong, what have you? What kind of chemical toxicity are you? Are you overweight? Are you obese? Are you inflamed? Do you have already chronic organ failing or dysfunction? Diabetes is, what 60% of us are diabetic or pre-diabetic. This is something that can be turned around if you want to turn it around. The World Health, or no, the National Institute of Health in 1996, I was still in chiropractic school, said that I had graduated by then. They said that diabetes, I think it was about 80%, can be reversed with diet and exercise alone. Diet and exercise alone. But you got to be willing to do it. what's the result of diabetes? It's usually organ failure, limb amputation, preventable blindness, or blindness, kidney failure, cancers, and lack of ability to enjoy your life, constantly trying to take care of a body that's blowing blue smoke out of it. Now, I'm sorry if I don't want to offend anybody here, but I do want to make you look at yourself in the mirror and go, is life worth living? Can I do something about this? And I hope that you make a decision one way or another. And if not, hey, that's great. You do what you want to do. If you want to try to change it, there's a lot you can do. Again, you can come in and talk to me, McCollum, Dr. Duncan McCollum, McCollum Family Chiropractic in Capitola. I've been in practice 35 years. I have another doctor that's been there. We went to school together 36 years, and another one about 20. So with all of our training, it's about 100 years of education on health and natural health. So I would highly recommend that you try something, do something different. Okay, last year we spent $4.7 trillion on health in this country, and we barely cured anybody. In fact, you can't use the word cure. So that's kind of the beginning of Dr. or Ben Azadi's book. He's not a doctor, he's a health coach. So he says Metabolic Freedom, his book, is more than a guide. It's a lifestyle, and it really is. You can't do a diet and get somewhere and then go off that diet and expect anything to change. You have to be willing to change. It's not easy until it's easy. I mean, you have to decide you're going to make an effort to do something. And I hope that you decide to make an effort to do something. So I'm going to just skip through to a couple other chapters here. So, your life, we need our cells to be healthy in order to live. We need a new paradigm for fat loss because most of us have too much fat in our body. And one thing that we know is that our body burns two things: glucose in the form of sugar, and that comes from everything from protein, all the meats you eat, to all the vegetables and all the starches and candies and sugars you eat. That all burns as one fuel. That's called glucose or sugar. So we have a cell that can burn two types of fuel, just like the cars they're making these days. Still most of the cars burn gas, and then they have a little bit of ability to burn electricity or run off electricity. But predominantly, they burn gas. Well, our body predominantly burns sugar, and then a little bit burns fat, unless we are aware of how to change it. Because fat burns very clean, and it's very healthy to burn fat. It's good for your brain, it's good for your body, and it also helps you not store a lot of toxins in your fat. But, because as we go through life, our body's constantly replacing itself. We have new cell growth constantly. And as an example, your white blood cells live about 13 days. So every 13 days, you get a whole new immune system, especially fasting. Fasting will help turn around your immune system within 72 hours. There's science out there that says a 32-hour fast will kill and burn all those white blood cells that have bad memories. That's why people are chronically allergic to the same thing. Some of these particular type of white blood cells live for a long time. Most of them die in 13 days, but some just stick around, and every time that sees an allergen, it blows up the body. So we got to get rid of those. Skin cells, about 30 days. We know that skin cells are, they slough off all the time. Red blood cells, the things that carry oxygen around your body, live about 120 days. And what's kind of cool is you may or may not have heard of the spleen. The spleen is like kind of a quality control for your blood cells. Every blood cell goes through the spleen 5 times a minute, the same blood cell. Every time it goes through, the spleen takes that blood cell and kind of squishes it this way, that way, sees if it's resilient. And if it passes, it goes on for another revolution around the sun. But if it doesn't pass, it bursts, and then all of the hemoglobin, all the vitamins, mineral, little cells or substances in there are recycled. So the average red blood cell makes it about 120 days. The liver cell is interesting. It renews about every half a year to a year. Your liver can renew. It can grow up to 90% after removed. But the thing is, when you start to cause scar tissue in the liver from toxins, from anywhere from glyphosate to paint solvent to resins to forever chemicals, alcohol, all these things will kill the liver and the cells are replaced with scar tissue or connective tissue. Those don't get replaced. So you've got this, it's kind of like a bunch of grapes. And if you kept pulling the grapes off, which would be the cells, and replace it with more and more branches, pretty soon you're more branches than you are cells. And that point, the liver is very messed up. It can no longer filter your blood very well. And that's pretty much the end. Because if your liver isn't cleaning your blood, you're just going to be a toxic mess and you're going to get chronic disease. So protect your liver. A lot of times you can help it. And we do a lot to detoxify the liver because it's the most important organ on detoxification there is. Hair cells on your head and anywhere else last about 6 years for women and 3 years for men. Thank God mine are strong. Stomach lining, 5 days. So every 5 days, your stomach lining's replaced. How is that? Because, excuse me, you have so much stuff going through that stomach and it's churning and churning and churning. And there's acids and enzymes in there that those stomach cells start to break down after 5 days, then they're recycled. Your intestines last up to 5 days, small intestine and stomach, bone and osteophytes. So your bone cells last about 25 years. And they completely regenerate in 10 years. Well, how come you get osteoporosis? If your bones and your osteocytes, which means site means cell, osteo means bone, if they last for so long, how do you get osteoporosis? Because your bones are constantly losing calcium and reabsorbing calcium, not the cells itself. I mean, the cells stay there, but the calcium is going in and out of the cells as needed based on this little glands up in your neck called the parathyroid hormone, the parathyroid glands. And so your calcium is used in almost every chemical reaction in the body, along with magnesium. So oftentimes when you don't have enough calcium in your body, your body pulls it out of the bone and uses it, knowing it's going to be replaced within hours. The only problem is that lead, which we all have 4 generations down through mom's umbilical blood, plus what we get, has a greater affinity for the receptor sites on the osteocytes than calcium does. So when you're playing musical chairs and the music stops, if there's more lead around, it's going to absorb the calcium quicker than the calcium is absorbed into the osteocyte. So then you start to get other minerals taking place of the correct minerals in the bone. You start to get osteoporosis, your bones break. And it can be a death sentence, especially when your hip breaks, beginning of the end. So detoxifying your body is really important because we know we can get the lead out. We know that we can get the mercury out or reduce it dramatically. We can get rid of the cadmium. We're being bombarded with aluminum every day through the air, through the fuel that's in the jet fuel. And, there are arsenics in the food, bismuth, all this stuff in the industrial world is in our water. We can barely get rid of it. Tin, all these things, they cause our body to break down. It makes the resilience become weak. So we want to make sure that we're able to detoxify. That's just the bone cells. And I'm talking about, the bone cells last a while, but oftentimes the cells will be loaded up with the wrong substances, and that makes us weak and sick. Heart cells, new cells are generated throughout our lifetime, half at birth, half at birth, the cells still are present up to 50 years old. So at 50 years old, half of the heart cells that you were born with are still there. Those heart cells are working very hard. And I'm sure we've put them through some pretty rough times. So, it's just how do we take care of this? How do we nourish this stuff? And the heart cells replace at a very slow stage, 1% at 25 and 0.5% at 75. So you want to protect your heart. You want to make sure you have enough blood supply going to the heart. So whether you have high cholesterol and high triglycerides, and what is that? What is high cholesterol? They kept lowering it till it's below 199. And heart disease and heart death has not changed, but Alzheimer's has gone up. I can't say the amount. I would say tenfold, but that would be a guess because our brains are drying up. And because of type 3 diabetes, which is insulin dependent diabetes, which I'll get to in a minute if I have time. I'm reading out of Ben Azadi's book, Metabolic Freedom. I'm reading some stuff and then pontificating off of the information that we know. Ben and I have been working an associate together. We've studied each other's information. We study and we learn from certain sources. Ben's gone on to do a lot of other stuff different than me because I'm a chiropractor and he's not. But I really, really respect what he's doing and what his book is all about. And it can change your health, the chemistry of your body, so that you can actually live a healthy life. The chiropractic is something that I can do. I can also help you along these lines of detox as well. But this book really explains it, how inflammation interferes with our cells. So this is the problem. I don't know if he's going to say this in the book here, but we know that 15 out of 16 of the most common causes of chronic disease and death are caused by they have inflammation at their root. So he says, when you pause to think of how magnificent your immune system is, you'll find yourself in awe. As you read this sentence, I want you to place your right hand over your ear and keep it there as I share this with you. Okay, got it? All right. You are a masterpiece because you are a piece of the master. Your body is not broken. Your body's a vessel for your beautiful soul. You were designed to thrive while experiencing peak vitality, energy, and vibrance. So I'm going to read that again. This is what Ben Azadi is saying. You are, okay? You are a masterpiece because you are a piece of the master. Your body is not broken. Your body's not broken. Your body's a vessel for your beautiful soul. You're a beautiful soul. Your body's a vessel for it. You were designed to thrive while experiencing peak vitality, energy, and vibrance. We're not designed to be miserable and live terrible lives and hate everybody in the world because we're not happy. No, you got to start with yourself. Now, it may or may not be easy. Come by and get a bottle of vitamin G, 100% gratitude at my office. I got that from Ben Azadi, by the way, who got it from Joe Dispenza, vitamin G. So, you need to have gratitude in order to survive. I'm going to read this one more time. You are a masterpiece because you are a piece of the master. Your body is not broken. Your body's a vessel for your beautiful soul. You were designed to thrive while experiencing peak vitality. You're designed to thrive. You're designed to thrive while experiencing peak vitality, energy, and vibrance. Do you believe that? Do you believe that you are designed to thrive? Well, I do. I believe I am. Do I always know? Do I work at it? I try to most of the time. Are there times I don't? Yeah. So, but you got to do more of the right stuff more often in order to get your body functioning well. Okay, let's see. Okay, you can remove your hand from your heart now. Okay. Acute inflammation versus chronic inflammation. Now, this is very, very important. Acute inflammation is not necessarily bad. Acute inflammation is not necessarily bad. As you will learn in the upcoming pages, there is a benefit to causing short-term stress so your body can become stronger. This is a principle called hormesis. I love the term hormesis, which we'll discuss in a later chapter. This is, think of acute inflammation as a soreness from a workout. A great analogy. Your body adapts to stress, repairs any damage, and recovers. And you become healthier and stronger. Just like working out. You're sore, you feel better, your muscles are better off. Chronic inflammation, on the other hand, is a boogeyman we want to avoid. Each cell has a lipid or fat bilayer, meaning two layers, wrapped around it called the cell membrane. So each cell has a membrane, which is composed of a double layer of something called phospholipids molecules. The cell membrane functions as the outer skin of the cell. So you have an outer skin and controls the passage of materials into and out of the cell. Proteins in the cell membrane, proteins, provide various services, including structural support and the formation of channels for the passage of materials. Think of the cell membrane as the bodyguards of your cell. That's a good way to think of it. Your cell membrane has bodyguards, protects it. Scientists once believed that the DNA nucleus served as the intelligence within your cell. They thought DNA was the intelligence. But their premise was proven to be flawed when Dr. Bruce Lipton, a world-renowned cell biologist, arrived on the scene. He challenged the notion that your DNA runs the show, conducting experiments where he removed the DNA nucleus from the cell and observed what would happen next. So he took out the brain to see what happened. To his surprise, the cell continued to function without any issues for months. This proved that something else was in charge. So he set out to discover what it was. Dr. Lipton found that when you remove the cell membrane, the cell instantly dies. When you remove the cell membrane, it dies, which means that the wisdom inside of our bodies is contained in the cell membrane. So when you remove the DNA, it keeps functioning. When you remove the membrane, it dies. Wow, that's pretty cool. He says this is where the life ends and begins. So an unhealthy cell versus a healthy cell. Chronic inflammation. When your cell membrane is chronically inflamed, hormones, amino acids, nutrients, minerals, oxygen, and so on will be blocked from entering the cell. And then there's a picture in the book showing it. Now, we've talked about this quite a bit. The cell membrane needs to be working. The gates and doors need to be opened in order for your body to function and those 75 trillion cells to have the fuel that they need to do the 75 million or the 60 million things a minute they do, controlled by the brain. So I'm going to skip forward a little bit. There's something in your cell called the mitochondria. You may have heard of it. The mitochondria is the power plant of the cell. It's like the carburetor or fuel injection system in your cell. Each cell has millions of these things, including, well, the only one that does it is a red blood cell. It doesn't have enough room for it because it's carrying oxygen. Okay, so 10 fascinating facts about these little power plants in your body called mitochondria. You get all your mitochondria exclusive from your mom. Thanks, Mom. Thanks for the mitochondria. The cells that are most metabolically active and needed for survival have the highest concentration of mitochondria. So the cells that work the hardest need the most. That's your brains, your eyes, and your heart. This means your mitochondria from various cells communicate with each other. So they communicate together. Mitochondria produce 95% of your body's energy, so they're pretty important. By age 70, which I'll be next year, we lose an estimated 57 to 70% of our mitochondria. Holy moly, I better get going. Every cell has mitochondria except the red blood cells. Red blood cells transport oxygen throughout the body. If they had mitochondria, they would consume the oxygen and they wouldn't be able to deliver it where needed. Mitochondria is technically alien to the organism. It was almost like a bacteria, and they operate independent. They have their own DNA. So they're like these little power plants in there. They're from outer space or somewhere. They're not of our body. They're in our mitochondria, but they are, I mean, in our cells, but they're different. Okay. Inside the mitochondria, there's a very unusual percentage of certain substances that transport metabolites, and it's got pyruvate and fatty acids. That's a little bit technical. I won't go into it, but oxidative phosphorylation is a process in which cells produce energy in the mitochondria, something called oxidative phosphorylation. Now, in my office, we have lasers, 3 different color lasers, green, violet, and red, that will increase the cellular energy, increase oxidative phosphorylation, and by working on igniting what's something called the electron transport chain. And we also have, and that's the light, we also have sound with the soft wave therapy machine. And these things are cutting edge. There's, barely any in Northern California. When I got mine, I had the first one. I got about 7 or 8 years ago by now, I think. So the 2 primary fuels are in the mitochondria are minerals and amino acids. So you should be taking pure aminos if you're not, and you should be taking a very healthy mineral, one that has ideally been fermented or um, derived out of fermentation and or through absorption of even the mushrooms, which we have in our office. There are only 2 antioxidants a mitochondria can use. Glutathione, which is the #1 detoxification antioxidant in our body. Mitochondria is made inside the cells. Glutathione is made inside the cells, and melatonin. Now, you probably heard about melatonin, and it's good, it's bad. You can have too much, you can't have enough. It's vital that your body have enough, but a cell that can't recognize it, you're pouring it down the drain. So all of this, if you get nothing out of today, there's so much more here that I would love to go into. Brain disorders such as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, Huntington's chorea, ALS, Duchenne's muscular dystrophy, forms of autism, acute brain injury, type 1 and 2 diabetes need to have proper function in order to have a healthy environment so the body can heal. A lot of times we have these chemicals of environmental chemicals called endocrine disruptors that totally mess up our ability to use hormones. So even if you have hormones and you're taking hormones, if they can't get onto the cell or into the cell, you might as well be pouring stuff down the drain. We got to be careful of the oils we eat. Some of the rancid oils or the harmful oils you want to avoid are canola oil, called rapeseed oil, corn oil, soybean oil, cottonseed oil, rice bran oil, sunflower, refined peanut oil, fish oil, grapeseed oil, refined palm oil, hydrogenated oil, safflower oil. A lot of these are obesogens. These oils cause the cell walls to be crispy and stop them from working correctly. So you want to be sure to get off of those good oils. On my website, McCollumFamilyChiropractic.com, my new website, by the way, I hope you go there, McCollumFamilyChiropractic.com, explore around on it, and you can find out when you go to the nutrient department, you can get a list of good and bad oils. Some of the synthetic ingredients you want to avoid is aspartame, sucrose, sucrin, NutraSweet, red and blue dyes, artificial color and flavoring. And, of course, they've banned with Robert Kennedy now 7 dyes. Hallelujah. But that doesn't go into effect for like a year and a half. So just because they ban it doesn't mean it's taken place. Things take time. Foods to avoid. Let's see. Where do I want to go in here in the last couple minutes I have here? Anyway, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum, and I am taking excerpts out of this book by Ben Azadi called Metabolic Freedom. I know you can get it on Amazon. It's a 30-day reset. And, Ben and I have known each other for a long time. He really focuses on this as his primary thing. He travels around the world. He's a keynote speaker at almost all of the natural functional medicine groups. This book is worth reading and taking some advice from. My main focus is chiropractic and peripheral neuropathy, which is the end result of a metabolism that hasn't worked well. So we always do two things at my office. First, we want to stop the boat from sinking. You've got a boat that's sinking. You're out in the middle of the ocean. You can't go anywhere. There's no land. Either bail the boat out or plug the hole. If you try to plug the hole and you don't find it in time, the boat sinks. There's no recovery. So you got to bail the boat out and keep the boat bailed out safe enough so you can then plug the hole. A lot of things we're talking about here are plugging the hole, okay? But bailing the boat out has to happen. You have to get your body healthy. You got to reverse the nerve damage or the organ damage or the brain damage. And the only way you can do that is by making a change and deciding to make it important. We started talking about, making a change. And the song, Steve Funderburg's song, We Can Be Free, sung by Tony Lindsay, is a really good one to listen to. You can find it online, Steve Funderburg, We Can Be Free, and listen to that song and make a decision to do something different because you're the only one that can make the difference. We can't make it for you. And I'd love for you to enjoy the rest of your life. My name is Dr. Duncan McCollum. I'm in Capitola, McCollum Family Chiropractic website. You can go to Dr. Duncan McCollum YouTube, my Instagram, my Facebook. I have a podcast called McCollum Wellness Radio. There's so many places to find me. I'm just trying to be available for you. I'm on TikTok now as well, but I don't know how to get on there. My staff does it for me. But now is the chance. You have one chance to make a new beginning. You can make that choice every day, but make it and then stick to it. And if you need help, we're here for you. Again, Dr. Duncan McCollum. Don't stay a stranger. Many of you come in after listening to me for years, and sometimes I wish you would have come in earlier because it's not going to get on well by itself. You cannot medicate yourself out of a chronic disease. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.
We will ride the boat. We will ride the boat.